Hi, I'm David Dobson, and welcome to Conversations. Today, my guest is Dr. Sara Babaee, and we will be discussing her research on retail space optimization. Sara Babaee is a lecturer in management at the University of Treasure Valley Business School. Sara received her PhD in supply chain, operations, and technology management from Lazaridis School of Business and Economics, Wilfrid Laurier University. Her research interests include sales and operations management, interface, transportation and logistics, mathematical programming, and optimization. She also has experience on software development in aviation industry, developing optimization algorithm to solve various airline scheduling problems such as crew pairing and roster optimization problems. It is a great pleasure to have you with me today, Sara.
Yes, thank you very much, David, for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here today for this short talk.
To start off, Sara, could you please explain what retail space management is?
Yes. So space management is basically practicing to effectively use the space inside the stores. Like we can define this research question or this concept from different point of views. But basically, it's the story of having a limited space inside the stores and then trying to locate some different number of product categories inside the store. So we will be deciding where should each category go and how much space do we want to allocate to them. As I said, you can look at this problem from different point of views. You can be as general as just deciding what categories do you want to have inside your store, or you can get a bit more detail, and then you might decide, okay, now I know what categories I have in my store. Now let's see, where should I locate each category? This could be basically deciding what categories should be in front of our store and what categories should be at the back of our store. We call this in academic research macro level looking. Then we can go even further and then think about a customer standing in front of a shelf and trying to decide what individual products they are going to choose. So in this case, we are not talking about categories, but individual products. We call these micro level researches. Or we can go even further and think about day-to-day decisions that are made inside the stores. For example, how frequently they are refilling the shelves, and that decision could be different for different categories. So basically, assortment planning, macro level decisions, micro level decisions, and then in a store operations, all these decisions together group would be defined as a space management process.
Oh, that's great. Why space allocation important to retailers?
So when we talk about a space, one thing that comes to people's mind is that, like the physical stores are gone. We're going to have online shopping and like e-commerce is growing, which is true, actually. Like the growth we are seeing for e-commerce and online shopping is really amazing. However, you will be surprised if I tell you that the amount of sale we are having in physical stores is still 5 times larger than the e-commerce. Okay. So it doesn't seem that it's going to be gone. Like physical retailers are here to stay. Yes. Also, at the same time, we are seeing the challenges for expanding their spaces. Like it's getting harder and harder every day to just simply open a new store in a new location and expand your space. So that limitation for the space is getting harder and harder and more challenging. And at the same time, we are seeing an increase in the number of product categories who are competing with each other to get a space on the shelf of the retailers. So this increase in the categories is also affecting. So all of these factors together we are facing a situation which seems really important to have a proper space management in hand. The fact that in physical stores, the customers can actually touch the products, so these kind of things even for the industries that are basically all online, they are still having some challenges with their space. Like you can, like, yes, inside a store you have the actual shelves, but even in an online shop you still have a limited space on your computer background. So it's not like you have all the space to present all the products. So there are still some decisions made in that cases as well.
What factors are considered in space allocation?
Okay, so like to answer this question, we can look at this space management as a game. Okay, so there are some product categories, they are competing with each other to get some space inside the stores. So there are some factors that could help those categories to win. For example, the first one that comes to everybody's mind is how profitable each category is. Okay, so those product categories are that have higher profit margins, or the product categories that have higher demands, which means they are bringing more customers to the stores. So these are the factors from the category side that can help them to win. Then there are some disadvantages that some categories have. Those goes to their space requirement. For example, the product categories that take a lot of space inside the stores, like they are so big, or the product categories or the fact that some of them needs spaces, like specific spaces, like they have to be temperature control thing.
Okay, great.
Decisions, the store layout, for example. Do we have a grid layout? Do we have a free layout? Is it a circular score? Is it so the store layouts is another group of factors that is affecting. And one thing that I did in my research was to specifically look at the factor regarding the different attractiveness of different locations inside the store. Some locations are basically more visible than the others. For example, those aisles in the store that are closer to the entry and exit doors, or the peripheral aisles, or the beginning and ending of the aisles. These are the locations that are more visible to the customers. And when we are deciding what categories should go where, we will look at these differences inside with the locations, and then considering the customer's shopping path as well, we will decide which category should go where. The result of my research matches the Costco store design perfectly. Like in our research, we come up with the solution that is putting all of the high demand categories at the very back of the store. That's exactly what Costco is doing. It's my results, because, like, you know, putting the high demand product categories at the very back of the store forces the customers to move around the store, like travel more distances, and visit more aisles. And that's exactly what Costco is doing, and that's exactly what fits my research.
Next question I was wanted to ask you was, like, what motivated you to do your PhD research in this retail space allocation optimization?
So, basically, in my research portfolio, I've been working on the research question that are looking at the interface of sales and operations management. Like what I argued in my PhD dissertation is that we are having some decisions made in operations management departments and some decision made in the sales departments. And if we were able to integrate these two decision-making processes together, what would be the benefit? Like, for example, I had one research done in transportation, and I said that if we integrated the sales and operations decision, we can decrease the waste inside in the supply chain, something like that. And this, the space allocation problem for the retail industries is another thing that the operations decision is directly affecting the sales. So the fact that where you are locating each categories can increase the sales inside your store, specifically for specific products which have impulse purchase rates, high impulse purchase rates, like candy and chocolate bars. Those are not necessarily included in the customer's shopping list. But
Yeah.
if you put them in attractive locations and the customers notice them when they are shopping, then you can produce some impulse purchases, and that is supposed to increase your sales. So that was an example in which operations decisions are directly affecting the sales. So that was why I included that in my research portfolio, because it's my interest. Yeah.
So I want to ask you kind of follow-up question regarding PhD research. So what did you learn in your research?
Yeah, so in our research, we considered the customer shopping passes when we were deciding about the categories locations and considering all those operational constraints and so on. And we see some patterns in our like experiments. I already told you one of them, like putting the high demand products categories at the very back of the store to force the customers to move further things, or putting the impulse purchase, the high impulse purchase products at the beginning of the store. We also face another issue, and that was congestion inside the store. Like this kind of pattern, like putting all the high demand product categories at one location, that create congestion inside the store. So we also studied that part in terms of our results, and then we were able to define some congestion avoiding constraints to be added to the models, and then we studied how does that can affect. The good thing was that at the same time that we were doing this research, the COVID-19 happens, and then we saw a new pattern inside the stores. Like they were defining a specific customer shopping passes that you should take. It wasn't as free as before. So we think about that as well. And we said, okay, now what would happen if we can define the customer's passes? Should we change the store design? And then we saw that our model was actually able to consider those kind of things. So it has a real implication during the COVID-19, and how should we change the store design so that we can have the passes with less congestion, for example.
Pretty amazing.
So those kind of things, we were actually amazed when it happened.
So finally, Sara, do you have any practical advice for retailers and researchers who wish to continue to do research in this area?
Yes, I think it's a very fruitful area, very interesting area if anyone wants to. And there's a lot of data already available. Specifically for PhD students, I know the main challenge for them is to find the real data so that they can at least have a real research. So this area of research is an area that it's really fruitful. It's still not very challenging, but it's really fruitful. And you can publish well if you work on this area.
That's important.
And it's also like it has its own implications, of course. I really do recommend this.
So thank you for your time, Sara. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you very much.